Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're doing a little sniff around the kind of slept on plane of the Cold War era, the F-105 Thunder Chief. Because you know we forgot about it up till now, just like you probably did. So F-105 Thunder Chief was a significant player in the Cold War era, embodying the growing sophistication of jet-powered aircraft during the 1950s and 1960s. Designed and produced by Republic Aviation, the F-105 was an innovative and formidable aircraft that served primarily as a tactical fighter-bomber for the United States Air Force during the Vietnam War. Its impressive speed, heavy payload capacity, and versatility made it a critical component of the U.S. military's efforts to project power globally. Today we will explore the history, design, operational use, and combat performance of the F-105 Thunder Chief. You know, I'm not going to lie, bud. I keep wanting to say F-106 Delta Dart like a fuzzball.
And we already covered the Delta Dart?
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, in the early 1950s, the United States Air Force was looking for a new type of aircraft that could carry out high-speed, low-altitude strikes on heavily defended targets, including enemy infrastructure, airfields, and industrial centers. The need arose during a time when the threat of nuclear war was prominent. The Air Force wanted an aircraft that could quickly penetrate enemy defenses and deliver nuclear payloads.
Definitely wasn't using Viagra on that one.
Well, at the same time, the advent of supersonic flight meant that the next generation of combat aircraft would need to exceed the performance characteristics of subsonic bombers and fighters. The Republic Aviation Company, known for its work on the P-47 Thunderbolt during World War II, was tasked with developing a solution to meet those demands.
Yeah, I'd go to them guys too. That P-47 was a beast. One of my favorite
dude.
World War II planes.
Yeah, iconic.
Oh, hell yeah. Have we done one on that? We should think about doing one on that. I suppose, though, for right now, though, we are stuck on the 105 Thunder Chief. So, speaking of which, the F-105 Thunder Chief was conceived as a tactical fighter-bomber designed for high-speed, low-level penetration, so am I, of enemy defenses. In 1952, the United States Air Force issued a request for proposals for a fighter-bomber capable of carrying a nuclear bomb while avoiding interception by enemy radar and other surface-to-air missiles. Republic Aviation's entry, the XF-105, was selected, and development began shortly thereafter. The design of the 105 was radical for its time. Its most distinguishing feature was its large, straight-edged delta wing, which provided excellent stability at high speeds and allowed for the aircraft to carry heavy ordnance. The design choice was also a response to the growing need for aircraft to operate at lower altitudes while still maintaining some form of a high speed. The aircraft's design emphasized speed, heavy armament, and simplicity. The F-105 was powered by a Pratt & Whitney J75 turbojet engine, which allowed it to reach speeds over 1,200 miles per hour, or somewhere in the ballpark of Mach 2, making it one of the fastest aircraft of its era. The F-105 also featured an internal bomb bay, which gave it a clean profile, reducing drag and enabling high-speed runs deep into the enemy bush.
Bro, Mach 2. That's crazy.
Yeah, back in the 60s.
Yeah, it's like J-20 speeds, you know what I mean? And low altitude. That's incredible.
You know, we won't talk about the boat anymore. Apparently people don't like me calling it that.
It's all right.
The thing's freaking huge, man.
It is a boat. And those canards are made out. Yeah, we'll get into that later.
It is made out of material that absorbs radar, because, yeah, sharp angles is not good with radar. We're not saying it's a smart design, it's just a design.
It's just their design, that's right.
I'm just reiterating what we know about it, okay? If you want to yell at someone about design, go find the Chinese government and say, hey, whoever made the J-20 for the Air Force might want to think about firing them.
That's right. I'm sure Mr. Z would love to speak with you about it. President Xi, whatever they call him. But as far as the Thunder Chief, it entered service within the United States Air Force in 1958, but it was in the 1960s that it would come into its own, playing a central role in the Vietnam War. Initially, the aircraft was designed to deliver nuclear bombs, as we said, but by the time it was deployed in Southeast Asia, its role had shifted towards conventional bombing and interdiction missions. It was primarily used for strike missions, for example, including ground attack and bombing runs, targeting supply lines, bridges, and airfields, other infrastructure critical to the North Vietnamese effort. Due to its ability to carry large payloads and fly at high speeds, the Thunder Chief quickly became the premier strike aircraft for the region. It was particularly valued for its ability to deliver both conventional and the nuclear option, providing versatility in the heat of combat.
One of the most significant campaigns the F-105 participated in was Operation Rolling Thunder, the sustained bombing campaign against North Vietnam that ran from 1965 to 1968. Because when we bomb someone, apparently it takes years.
Apparently, dude, we lit up.
Kind
We
of like
lit
J.G. Wentworth. Anyway.
I have a structured settlement and I need cash now. Call J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now. I have an annuity, but I need cash now.
But seriously, we lit that area up. The Ho Chi Minh.
Yeah, no, it definitely was turned into a parking lot. 3 years of steady bombing.
Yeah.
The Thunder Chief was a central part of the campaign's bombing raids against North Vietnamese air defenses, supply routes, and military targets. Despite its formidable payload and speed, the F-105 proved vulnerable to North Vietnamese surface-to-air missiles, or SAMs, other enemy fighter jets, and anti-aircraft artillery. The F-105 was deployed primarily in strike missions. I should try and read this like I'm fucking Dave Attenborough.
Almost. Yeah.
We should try it someday. That would be a copyright claim for sure. But we should. It would be. I would pay money to listen to Dave Attenborough talk about the F-105 or any.
I can actually turn your voice into his.
That would be good God.
I could totally do that too.
Good God. Against enemy infrastructure, often lying low at. Yeah. Anyway. F-105 was deployed primarily in strike missions. Oh my God, I keep reading it in the voice of Dave Attenborough. It's fucking with me now.
You want me to read that part?
The F-105 was deployed primarily in strike missions against enemy infrastructure, often lying at low altitudes to avoid enemy radar detection. No, okay, all right, snap out of it, dickhead.
You're fine.
You're sitting here like, that's like 30 seconds I gotta tear up, bro. You're such a dick.
Oh, it's not. It's just as easy as if it's 2. You're good, bro. You're good. Yeah, take your time. I understand.
It was worth the chuckle. It's fine. Just roll it.
It gets our energy up. Like,
the F-105 was deployed primarily in strike missions against enemy infrastructure, often flying at low altitudes to avoid radar detection. The aircraft's bombing accuracy and payload capacity made it an invaluable hit-and-run tactic aircraft, even as the aircraft suffered heavy losses. We should get Gordon Ramsay in on this, too.
Well, this is the time of Operation Bolo, if you remember, where the F-4s basically mimicked the Thunder Chief's radar signature.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we should do something with that and talk a little bit about that, because MiGs were tearing up the F-105. In fact, their vulnerabilities, right? They were highly capable, but also proved to be vulnerable in combat. While it was capable of outpacing enemy interceptors and could carry a wide range of ordnance, the lack of electronic countermeasures and the vulnerability of its low-altitude flight profile made it a prime target for surface-to-air missiles, and more primarily for enemy interceptors and MiGs. One of the primary tactics used, actually, by enemy forces during the Vietnam War was to deploy SAMs, radar-guided missiles, basically, that could engage aircraft at long range. But in addition, MiG-17s and MiG-21s were frequently sent to intercept the F-105 bombers, creating a constant threat to the aircraft's and the mission's success.
I wonder if they strapped a JDAM on the ass of a MiG-21, if it would just
go backwards.
And cue the song, "Fall to pieces, I'm falling." Anyway.
Yeah, it'd go backwards.
It would go back to the Stone Age, literally. It would fall like a stone. The vulnerability of the 105, combined with heavy losses during the Vietnam War, led to the eventual shift towards the F-4 Phantom II, and many of the roles originally occupied by the F-105. The Phantom II was a far more versatile aircraft equipped with more advanced electronics and capable of carrying out both air-to-air and air-to-ground missions. As a result, the 105's role began to transition from frontline fighter-bomber to a more secondary role. being outperformed by a flying refrigerator, that the only reason it could even get off the ground was because it had so much thrust it moved the planet instead of actually flying.
We created the J-79s.
Yeah. Nonetheless, the F-105 Thunder Chief performed admirably in its initial years of service, with over 800 Thunder Chiefs deployed during the war, many of which were used in critical bombing missions during Operation Rolling Thunder and Operation Linebacker, a bombing campaign aimed at disrupting North Vietnam's ability to wage all-out war. Some general specifications of the 105 Thunder Chief, because who doesn't like numbers? Overall length was around 66 feet 7 inches, or if you prefer the metric system, 20.3 meters, with a wingspan falling in the realm of 34 feet 4 inches, or 10.5 meters, a height at the wonderful number of 18 feet 6 inches, or 5.6 meters, and a maximum all-out flat gotta get the fuck out of Dodge speed of 1,390 miles per hour, or a solid Mach 2.1 at high altitude. An overall range of 2,400 miles, it's about 3,862 kilometers, with the use of external fuel tanks. A service ceiling of 50,000 feet, or 15,240 meters. And a maximum takeoff weight of 56,000 pounds, or 25,401 kilograms, for those of us that don't know how to use tons. Which would have been much, much easier on both aspects.
Absolutely. Well, and the armament, let's talk about that.
Ooh.
It was obviously, it was capable of carrying a wide variety of munitions, including nuclear bombs, and it was initially designed to carry the Mark 28 nuclear bomb. The Thunder Chief could carry a range of nuclear payloads, however, as part of its strategic bombing role. Conventional bombs up to 14,000 pounds of bombs, including the MK-82 500-pound bombs and the MK-84 2,000-pound bombs. It could also carry rocket pods and missiles. The Thunder Chief could be fitted with Zuni rockets and AIM-7 Sparrow missiles for air-to-air combat, although the latter was rarely used in combat, much too fast, just couldn't dogfight. And it did have a gun. The aircraft was equipped with a 20mm M61 Vulcan gun for self-defense.
That's what I use on the top of my house, too.
I put it on my Kia, you know.
Did you order it from Temu? Or
yeah,
IKEA, I don't know. Fucking
the Vulcan spelled with 2 L's, so we're good.
That's right. It's it was unknown to the rest of the world until I created it.
Well, I'll tell you what. What about the cockpit?
Can you imagine what the turning radius is on that thing? Like 18,000 football fields.
Well, and I imagine its turning radius is much like the aardvark. You know what I mean? And we actually did a video on the aardvark, but I imagine it's much like that. It's probably pretty large.
No, I mean, obviously it's not SR-71 8-state or 5 states turn around at cruising speed, but you know.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know. Could you imagine like leaving the hangar with any AIM-7s? Like, you know, you're not going to use those, right?
You're sitting there like, good Lord, I hope they function.
Yeah, dude. Like, yeah. I mean,
wasn't it the AIM-7 that was just notoriously garbage, if I remember correctly?
I don't remember.
Misfires are us. Started making the old Ruskies feel bad because they were doing better than they were at failed launches.
Well, dude, like, you looking at the aircraft, you would think it'd be all right, like turning, but I'm sure it was pretty wide.
I'm probably talking out my ass. I'm here purely for comedy today. My brain isn't functioning, so I'm just cracking shit.
We're both kind of on that level, but let me ask you something. What about the cockpit and avionics in this thing?
Well, I mean, you've seen my baseball. The cockpit of the F-105. Let's be serious for a moment, everyone. You didn't expect anything different from us, did you? Realistically, you knew at some point there would be an episode we cut where it was just going to be a big load of fuckery. Guess what? You found it. This is it, right here. Biggest fucking dumpster fire in the history of you. Well, I don't even think we don't think we can claim that. There was the I'm a snake guy, but he went viral, so I guess I don't know. Anyway. The cockpit of the F-105 featured advanced avionics for its time.
All right.
In the land of today, it was more like the land before time. And if anyone here is actually old enough to remember that, please drop a fucking note in the comments. Littlefoot, man. They should have just named it the F-105 Littlefoot.
I'm the baby, buddy. You gotta love me.
And they're just screaming off in the corner. Shut up, Junior! Thud. Including radar targeting systems. This isn't this could have been 1967. They might have gotten beat by their father.
Yeah, it's right around at that time.
That's right. Including radar targeting systems and a flight control system that allowed the pilot to fly at high speeds and low altitudes with precision. Not quite F-22 precision, but we're precise.
When we're saying precision, we're talking at least a football field.
That's right. We're on the same continent, so that's a plus.
Yeah.
The aircraft's cockpit layout was designed to minimize the pilot's workload during high-stress operations, with forward-looking radar for targeting and the integrated targeting computer used to assist with bombing accuracy. However, if you could use the Force like Luke Skywalker, you shut that shit off. You still have your proton torpedoes make a 90-degree corner. No one ever questioned that, by the way, why the proton torpedoes make a 90-degree corner into that shit. It's fine. You don't have to be facing the hole you're shooting for. You just have to be able to curb your load.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I don't know how to respond to that.
I don't either. I don't even know where that came from, but I'm kind of proud of it.
Well, I'll tell you what, even though the F-105, we're joking around, guys, but even though the F-105 Thunder Chief was retired from frontline service by the mid-1970s, his legacy kind of lived on in the design of later fighter bombers, like the development of the F-111 Aardvark and the F-4 Phantom II, which we ended up running, kind of the same role as a fighter bomber, really. Again, the refrigerator could fly straight really well. I don't know.
I guess, know what? We need to do like a deep dive. Maybe we can do that on the next one. We'll do a deep dive of like the top pilots of the Phantom II, because we all remember dogfights back in the day, and there was some fucking impressive feats done with the F-4 Phantom.
Absolutely. Well, and actually, shout out. You brought that up. Shout out to Brooks, one of the creators of dogfights.
Absolutely.
Talked to him in a while, but shout out Brooks, man. Like, we need to get with him and maybe have him and his co-creator on. That
would be wonderful. But
I'm
just remembering, back to the days of sitting in front of my TV, drooling on myself while watching that, because I believe it took every ounce of brain power I had achieved at that point in my life, and I doubt that I've gotten much farther past that.
Probably regressed.
Might be a slightly smaller puddle by the time I'm done, but I'm sure there'll be a couple of drips, just like everyone else after you hit 30.
Man, honestly.
But no, there was some really impressive shit done with an F-4 Phantom too. Like, if you could take some of the pilots of those days and slap them in what we have like now, or even just an F-15 Eagle, I would be willing to say that our combat numbers would have been absolutely astronomical.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
If you can out dogfight a MiG-21 or a MiG-17 with an F-4 Phantom in real world combat, and all of a sudden you get handed one of the greatest fucking planes to ever take flight.
Oh, yeah.
In an F-15 Eagle or even an F-16 Fighting Falcon.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the devastation that would have been wrought in air-to-air combat?
Man, the Eagle, still to this day is still crazy. So is the F-16. That's why we export so many. But,
well, and that's why there's a such thing as an F2, because, copies.
Timu, man. It happens.
That's right.
It happens. Timu happens. We're sponsoring Timu a lot lately. What's going on?
Yeah, we do. They need to start paying us for this shit. I'm not going to keep saying their goddamn name.
Well, the Thunder Chief's role in the Vietnam War highlighted the limitations of traditional bombing tactics and helped drive the development of stealth technology and precision-guided munitions, or PGMs, in the decades that followed. The F-105's vulnerability to surface-to-air missiles, combined with the increasing effectiveness of radar and interceptor aircraft, showcased the importance of electronic countermeasures, stealth technology, and advanced targeting systems. Additionally, the Thunder Chief's extensive service in Southeast Asia helped refine the tactics and the procedures for strike aircraft flying in high-threat environments, which continues to influence modern Air Force tactics.
Well, I was about to crack a mail-order bride joke, but we're going to skip that one for today's episode. I think I've said enough. Inflammatory shit today.
I don't know. Are you going to skip the bride or just the comment? Because
both, objectively.
Well, if there's a 2-for-1
I
special, I'm
can't,
just
I
saying.
can't actually say that and have this remain any form of a PG conversation. So you know what? We're going to skip this entire fucking conversation.
Okay.
The F-105 Thunder Chief was officially retired from the U.S. Air Force in 1984 after a relatively short but impactful service life. By the time of its retirement, the Thunder Chief had undergone various upgrades, including the addition of electronic countermeasures and an advanced targeting system. But the aircraft eventually was phased out in favor of more versatile aircraft such as the aforementioned F-4 Phantom and the F-16 Fighting Falcon. Yeah, you give me a choice between those three, I'm 100% grabbing that Falcon because...
Thing's dangerous. It's dangerous.
Well, so it actually was agile, unlike Ron White, as we found out in his latest comedy special.
I didn't hear about that. What? He's not agile?
Well, no, he's 60-something years old, and he was kind of drunk, and he's not very fucking agile, to quote him directly.
Oh, really?
He got stopped at a DUI checkpoint.
Oh, did he?
Apparently. That was the joke. I don't know if it actually happened or if he just wrote it, but it was comedic fucking genius, objectively.
Yeah, he is a genius. Shout out Ron White. I don't know.
Yeah, Joe Rogan. While we're throwing names out. Get over here, you jackass.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan. Not gonna lie, he's pretty cool. I saw him on an episode of Meat Eater with Steven Ranella. We'll throw out more names, mostly because he's from my area of the fucking country and the world. 100%. So I love that show. But yeah, him and that one fucking guy that went with him.
Are you talking about?
And whatnot. I don't know who I'm talking about, and really, he doesn't matter. He's not that funny.
Dude, we need to make a trip over to Austin to his comedy club to the Kill Tony thing. Go to a comedy show out there.
So we can get stoned off the stage.
Hell yeah!
It'd be the most recent stoning death since 1575.
Well, no, I don't mean to perform, just to watch them. Like, we don't have anything.
There would be no fucking, tomatoes and other bullshit that they used to whip at the fucking people up on stage. It would be straight up fucking granite, bro.
Bro, we would be stoned, but in the good way.
No, negative. I don't do that.
No, you don't have to smoke. It just
I have licenses that need to be kept.
Well, it'd be in the air, so.
Oh, so it's gonna be like that pumpkin chunkin' shit. They're just gonna throw us out of a trebuchet and call it a day. After that rhyme. Wow. All right. We're getting her there, boys. So, to wrap this fucking shit up, the F-105 Thunder Chief remains one of the most iconic aircraft of the Cold War era, embodying the transition from World War II era bombers to the modern high-speed, high-precision fighter bombers of the future.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
Although the aircraft's service life was relatively short, its contributions to military strategy, air warfare tactics, and aircraft design cannot be overstated. Or perhaps they have been. We don't know. The Thunder Chief's role in the Vietnam War showcased the growing importance of air superiority, because it was a dogfighter, precision bombing, which it did do, and countermeasures in modern air combat, which it didn't have. And it played a pivotal role in shaping the direction of future aircraft development. Can you imagine strapping your ass into an aircraft that has absolutely no flares or anything in the era of missiles?
Absolutely not. And I just want to throw back out here for
that's a hard pass, sir.
Well, here's the thing. For all those brave pilots that are still alive and still kicking, probably still some of them flying, right? This isn't meant to be a diss on them. You guys are brave. We're just talking about.
Oh, absolutely. Hats off to them boys. They got bigger fucking cojones than I do. Like, I punched a bear in the nose, but I would absolutely never get into a plane in the age of missiles.
Of actual SAMs.
Without flares. Like, it's just not happening, dude. You could throw me in Leavenworth. It's got 3 meals a day. Fuck you.
Well, a lot of these SAMs that they had then are still around today and still useful, like Ukraine, Russia especially. But yeah,
I'm sure they probably are flying a couple F-105s because
they might be.
7 doesn't take off.
Yeah, but those SAM
their primary fucking. That's their primary stealth aircraft right there, sir.
Put some canards on it.
That's right. Some reverse thrusters will do that thing all kinds of good.
It just needs some canards.
Because it wants to be a ninja.
Should crows the reed. The Thunder Chief's legacy is felt in every modern airstrike, where speed, firepower, and tactical flexibility remain as important as ever in the arsenal of the air forces of the world. Though retired, its history continues to serve as a benchmark for the evolution of fighter bombers and other tactical aircraft.
I bet there's someone listening to this that's flown one. They're sitting there going, tactical flexibility? Fucking what?
Hey, if
what are you guys on?
Yeah, if by some chance you guys see this, if you've worked on the aircraft, flown the aircraft, let us know in the comments. We'd like to talk to you. So, in all honesty,
we wanted to make it sound really good, but let's be honest. Everyone forgets the F-105 even existed because it kind of sucked.
Well, and here's the thing, man. We're not actually good at the shill thing, obviously. So, you know, we're kind of the YouTube channel that's good with the community and not necessarily with the company. So, I guess we got to kind of tell the truth, man. You know, it was
I've never told anything about my personal feelings on things. Whether or not it's actually the truth, well, I guess that would depend on the level of information I have.
Well, here's the deal, dude. Like, you were right about the Thunder Chief. It wasn't the greatest, but it was a little bit of a breakthrough. I mean, first supersonic, you know, quote unquote precision bomber, but it really did kind of start the evolution to a true interceptor interdiction bomber more than a fighter bomber.
It was obviously impressive for its time. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been immortalized in any sort of way.
Absolutely.
Well, you don't think high performance and F-105 in the same sentence per se.
Well, think about it. We had the crazy 60s, 70s. We had basically some really out there guys that are just strapping huge ass engines to planes. I mean, the fact the F4 moves like it does, and just the 105. I mean, that was our tactic.
There was more than a landing strip on these planes. Let's put it that way. If you know what I mean.
Meanwhile, the Chinese, 40 years later, we're pushing canards on.
Yeah. Right. 80s, full bush, man. Full bush. 90s, landing strip. 2000s, bald. 2023, cock.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's right. Thunder Chief, F-16, F-15, I guess J-20.
You should probably snip that thing I set out.
Well,
I'm sure it goes against some YouTube community guidelines.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll save this original one. We'll put it over on Patreon. How about that? We can do that. How about we do that? And then I'll edit it down a little bit. You guys can see this on Spotify as well. Both links are in the description. And then what? Well, you'll see part of this as the F-105 short but long version on YouTube. So
short but long. Without any of the extremely inflammatory shit that sometimes gets said, because what's a filter?
Well, that's the thing. They won't get they don't get this podcast part when they just watch that. So hopefully they come over to Patreon or even YouTube and get some of the podcast part of this.
That's right. And then we'll catch you guys next time.
Y'all are amazing.
Hit that like button, subscribe, and smack the noti bell. You gotta slap the toast, man. We've been forgetting to mention that we buttered it now.
Yeah, they see the new icon. Hopefully they enjoy that as well. But it's still the toast. You got to slap that shit.
All over the buns. You got to have. There's got to be good aim involved.
Well, speaking of good aim and buns, Xanatos Music. Be sure to check him out. XanatosMusicProductions.com. He's the guy that does all of our background music. He does gameplay music. Go check him out. He's definitely a talented artist. So
that man definitely has some fantastic buns.
Absolutely. Other than that, we're also on Rumble. That's about it, man. TikTok. There's something over there, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, there's things and stuff around. I guess with that being said,
he's been cool.
No, I haven't.
He's Kegs.
And he's cool. And we're both retarded.
And
bye.
That'll work.